Now, just assuming, for the sake of our conversation, that in spite of everything that you've said, or everything that has been said on this topic, this bill sails through Parliament and the new tax comes into law and into force. How do you foresee it affecting the communication sector at the user level, at the end user level? Do you think people would talk less, receive less calls, not check their emails? Would I have to pay just for the fact that an email has come into my mailbox, or do I have to click on it before I am subject to a 6% tax?
I have some previous, so there are some things that I don't talk about, but I don't think that your emails are going to be taxed. I don't think so at all.
Okay.
I don't think your emails are going to be taxed.
So I can breathe a sigh of relief.
I think, yeah. Because how do you, if somebody sends me spam, what are you going to do? Are you going to come and, I didn't ask for it, it's annoying, and you're going to let me pay for it too? No. You see, and the means to do it is not even there. If the thing doesn't have a precise charge, a precise rate, that you know that this is the amount of revenue that had come, and therefore this is the percent of tax that I'm expecting, there's no way that you can do this. So if you receive an email, how is it going to be priced for you to pay a 6% tax on it? So I'm saying those are some of the things that came up when you rush a bill purely because on revenue. And then my advice is that any of these things that are going in, they should get some people who are technically competent or who understand that particular side of the business to give them money to make them do the thing right.
Several posts coming in, some saying that as a regulator, government should ensure better service from telcos and combine that perhaps with its quest for more revenue and also more efficient use of this revenue. So we come full circle. We get some revenue, we ask for more revenue, but are we using this revenue in an efficient manner?
There are two things. First, there's the quality of service and then there's revenue. I don't think the revenue that the government is asking for affect the quality of service at all. It doesn't. The companies are making the money that they can make.
Because the telcos have said that this is a disincentive for them to invest in infrastructure and hardware, which is needed presumably to improve services.
What do you think they will say? They will find any excuse that allows them to be off. In fact, they are the ones that they are the ones that the government should be looking at. If you make about $500 million in this country, and pressure our Bank of Ghana to go and find a hard currency for you to transfer, and then you don't pay any corporate tax, that's a fundamental problem that we need to look at. The government must look at the multinationals. The money that they will make from there is far higher than what they will make from communication service tax. And for a multinational, they will do, and it's everybody. The people will do everything that we can that's in our interest. So if we don't have to pay at all, we won't pay. So this is an excuse. They were investing even under military regimes when the risk was higher. Then this small tax, they say it would, and it is incentive for, so long as there's a market, so long as there's profit to be made, businesses will invest. It's that simple. So this tax is not going to affect their interest to invest or not to invest. So long as there's some competition that, hey, let me go out there, let me introduce this new service and let me make this money, they will invest. We shouldn't listen to them.
Who should we listen to then?
We should listen to our own interest. So long as the privileges are there, so long as the opportunities are there, they will invest. Almost every business invests, so long as they see that they can make a profit. Our interest is, because the pressure that they bring to bear and the devaluation that they cause to the economy, you won't believe it. They generate all this money. When the Bank of Ghana cannot get them the money, they go to the open market. And then you see the cedi falling. It affects your pocket, it affects my pocket, because prices go up in relation to those who are receiving salaries that are in cedis. We must look at these people well.
Indeed, accuracy is very important. I hope to be able to open the phone lines in a few minutes so you can call in with your questions, comments and suggestions. Addison says he agrees with you, Doc, only if the revenues will be used well. Beside the communication network sometimes give us headaches, but trust me, post communication has made things easy, or if I may add, so easier. He also hopes that we don't pay much for this tax, and says good morning. Well, good morning to you too, Addison. It's a really interesting question. Exactly how much might it cost in cedis and pesos? What are we talking about? Is it something substantial, or is it truly negligible?
In relation to, for me, I've done some small, in relation to the actual taxes that the companies must make, this is peanuts. I can tell you that for sure.
Little drops of water.
Yeah, because if you look at, they charge for royalties, that is using their name. They charge for management services. If you put all those things together, you are talking over 12%. This tax is only 6%.
Felix I thinks that he would side with the minority in Parliament who are insisting that the amendment to this bill would overburden the consumer with taxes, thinking that an imposition would cripple the system because it's already difficult to earn an income, not to mention have it last a month and be able to save some. So you would disagree with that this tax on the individual is not something that we are going to feel on a daily or even monthly basis?
We had this debate before the tax came in. At first it was only imposed on me and you, so we didn't see that much of it. Now where this bill is going is looking at communication between the companies. That is where this thing. So our owner is not going to change much. Is the what they are getting, the exchange between them is what this thing is correcting. How that will increase our individual bills, I don't know. But we have had the experience before where the tax was imposed. I don't think most people even recognized it, the 6%.
Okay, Shaq, the slime stunner says communication comes with a touch of everything, a tool and a toy, so he doesn't think we can put it to a specific section. I think that's really important though, because if you're going to tax entertainment, luxury, that's one thing. If you're going to tax a tool of development or something that's essential, that's another. And Felix I says, well, government argues that it is losing over 45 million Ghana cedis a month. I wonder whether that's potential or real income, Doc. And he says, hence the levy. Now, how is this possible? And is this real or potential income?
Possibly they have looked at the numbers and they see how much, because you can look at the number of minutes are clearly registered. So possibly they have looked at it. I don't know whether the absolute number is right, but they have looked at it and it is real, something that is just slipping through the cracks. So that is real. But I will never support any government in terms of taxes when the multinationals are being let off. I don't think it's right for citizens to be the one that bears the burden of keeping the country going and also keeping the pockets of the multinationals full. I don't think it's right. If government would take a look at the companies themselves, what is the real taxes, income taxes that they must pay, and are they paying it? Because like I'm saying, the NCA did a small study and they saw some of the telephone companies under declaring their revenues. Once you declare your revenues, it goes all the way through, because your profit is going to come from your revenues. 4 of them, either 4 or 5, pay no taxes, no corporate taxes, completely none. Meanwhile, these are companies that we also give some incentives to write off some of their taxes and stuff like that. We write off their taxes, they don't pay any corporate tax, and then we impose tax on the citizen.
Okay, Doc, talking about citizens, most citizens that seem to be watching are more concerned about what we as individual citizens might have to pay. Now you mentioned that this is a tax on interconnectivity.
Yeah.
Okay, Nia Masa Blankson puts it this way. He says, so I will be charged if I receive a phone call, then I don't need to answer my calls. However, once the call registers on your handset, there's interconnectivity.
No, but
already.
No, you see, once a call starts from me to you, it goes through a system. You have been charged already. Your 6% comes on your bill, and that is it.
Already?
Yeah. You have,
without you even picking it up?
We have no. What I mean is that for the citizen, we are already paying the 6%. This is between the service providers. How that translates to that, because if we don't watch out they may use that to put something more on the citizen. You know, if there's going to make a trickle down, because it's not a direct tax on the citizen. The first part was a direct tax on the calls that you make.
It's lovely the way telcos and everybody is paying attention to this in percentage terms. But when it comes to us, the users, does anybody actually rigorously regulate, or robustly monitor the sector? How do we know that we get our value for money, especially when most of the services are prepaid? You give a service provider the money in advance. Sometimes they tell you that your money expires.
Yeah.
Instead of telling you, well, at least we'll roll it over, not to mention, give you a little bit of a percentage on it, because you're essentially lending us money in advance of a service. Who or how should this be better regulated? How can we ensure that we are getting our value for money when we give the service providers money ahead of time?
You see, this was predicted, and that's why you set up the regulator, and then he writes a license and spells out the terms and conditions of that license. I think our failures have been from the regulators, because they have licenses to enforce, they don't enforce them. You understand? The quality of service things are in there. The penalties must be imposed. For the way our consumers feel, see the quality of service, you have thought that every month some penalty is being imposed on service providers. That is not the case. Practically, we are seeing poor service, but we're also not seeing the incentive, because when they lose money, that is the incentive for them to do better, because they don't want to lose money. But if the regulator doesn't impose the fines, then they have no incentive to improve the service. So this has been written in their licenses. The regulator doesn't enforce the license as vigorously as it should, but that's also because these people have influence. The companies have money, and they have influence.
Very interesting. Thank you very much, Dr. Benedu, a communications specialist when it comes to engineering in particular.